Hey there, Capricorn. How you doing? It's been a while. So this is the forecast taking you from the new moon in Pisces on the 28th of February, right the way through to the full moon, the total lunar eclipse in Virgo. So this is a 2-week forecast just for you. No other sign. This is just your one. Now, this is an overview to the energies. And what I really see is that there's, I think, 4 things that I really want to help you with, because I can see that right now there's an issue with sort of understanding where you belong and how things are fitting together. And so I think that's the main theme for this forecast, is what does belonging mean to you? And I really see a lot to do with ownership. So let's bring up the forecast now. In fact, just before I go here, I just want to pay a bit of attention to the flow of the energy we're in. So this is a new moon forecast. We've got the new moon on the 28th of February. And you'll see that during this 2 weeks, we'll be coming up to the full moon. So you can get a really good idea here that we're starting in darkness and we come into this illumination. Now, that doesn't mean to say you're dark around the 28th, but we're more in our psychic senses. We are much more in the unknown, in the mystery of what we're wanting to create. And usually around the time of the new moon, it's a good time to sow seeds of things that you've got in your imagination, in your heart. If you talk to your higher self, it's the time when we're planting our seeds and generating ideas for ourselves. Now, we don't have to really get to work and start being active. The active phase is as we're coming more and more into the light. But you'll see here at the first quarter, which happens to be around the 7th of March, during this first quarter, you see there's a little bit of dark and a little bit of light. We're exactly halfway through the flow. And I see that as a critical point where we are starting to really stir with what we're creating in our mind's eye. We're getting these impulses to come into action. And for us, it's a time to, or for you, because I'm not a Capricorn, but for you, it's a time to get clearer about what's what, which of these ideas are you going to birth and bring into reality. And then in the second week, you're starting to get cracking, starting to lay deeper and deeper foundations and taking action. And then as we're coming up to the full moon, which just happens to be the first eclipse of 2025, there's a lot of stuff going on. And the fullness of life comes out. And lots of people can be pulling their hair out about that. We often get very wide awake because things are too bright, too much in our faces. So we're moving from this calm state where there isn't anything necessarily on our agenda, and we're about to start growing things. So it's a growth phase. Just want to show you this here, if you want to have a look at it as a diary view, and I'll point out some of the most important dates. So we're starting on the new moon in Pisces on the 28th. This is the kind of halfway point on the 7th of March, leading us up to the total lunar eclipse on the 14th. That might vary according to where you are in the world. This is the midpoint. This is the average point of all those dates in the London time zone. Now, a couple of things that are really that will come up in the main reading. Venus is going retrograde on the 2nd of March. It's a very dreamy day, I have to say, because Mercury's in a conjunction with Neptune, and then Mercury's changing signs on the 2nd. So I do think the 28th to the 3rd is full of changes, really, really, truly full of changes. And then this is a really important time. So the 7th to the 8th of March. So we've turned a corner, and then the Sun trine Mars, it's exact, and everything starts to come into sharp focus, and we start to really move forwards. Things will plow forwards very, very quickly. And then the following week, I think the 11th, 12th, well, really leading up to the total lunar eclipse, we'll start to get quite busy. In particular, for you, the Sun in a conjunction with Saturn is such a strong motif of that week. So let's have a look now at how it looks on a chart. I've got 2 charts here. This is the chart for the new moon in Pisces, which is really upon us. And then this is the chart from the 7th. You'll see the moon is just at this halfway point. Obviously, at the total lunar eclipse, the moon will be here. So we're on the journey from here right the way around to the moon ending up in this eclipse point in Virgo. So let's and these are all the notable times that I wanted to just have on hand. So anyway, this new moon in Pisces is highlighting this part of your chart, which is the third house. Now it's quite a busy part of the chart. I think of it as native. I really see it as the kind of the community you're in, the environment you're in. If you're a fish, it's the waters you're swimming in. So everything that's going on immediately around you that catches your eye, and where you're starting to use the resources. See, the resources and money are all coming up in the second house, but in the third house, it's like, how are you using those resources? How are you putting them to good use? And it's a lot about the people around you, your neighbors, your sort of family, like your family of friends. You might still be in the place that you were born in. Not many people are now, but if you are, it'd be like your aunties, uncles, cousins, and so on and so forth. So it's a very, very busy part of our life, and it's where we are usually at, So I do think, if you're working locally and you've got all your work pals and stuff like that, it's the whole kind of native neighborhood kind of busyness of meeting backwards and forwards. It's a place where we do a lot of learning and a lot of communicating. Now, this new moon is really bringing up opportunities in your local neighborhood, in this place where where you are, where you've got tools at your disposal, where you've got lots of friends, lots of companions in life, where you seem to know how the lay of the land goes. Okay, so any of those things, if they're ringing any bells in you, this is where there are opportunities, and the new moon is representing a new start. I see this as the marketplace. There's a lot of back and forth going on. Now, one of the things I like about this particular new moon that's going to really set you up for this week, and for the following week, is the fact that the sun and the moon are in a lovely trine with Mars. And as the first week goes on, and beyond that, actually, the trine between the sun and Mars perfects. So it comes into it's exactly in a trine. Exactly 120 degrees away from each other on the 8th. So it's getting stronger and stronger. And so you're coming back into your strength. Now, Mars is in your 7th house, which is about your relationships and the quality of the people in your life. Now, that's taken a bit of it's taken a bit of a dive, I would say, since December. You might have found that the people around you have either lost their enthusiasm. They might have been a bit sort of confrontational, but sort of sullen, maybe, not full of spark like they might usually be. Mars went retrograde in December, on the 6th of December, and he's literally just a couple of days ago on the 24th started moving forwards again. And so that's created, I would say, almost like nothing has been moving forwards because of the people in your life. It feels like the people that you might need to have energy and assertiveness and to really know who they are, they've really not known who they are. And I think that has possibly affected you. So, as we're coming into this 2-week period, I think not only are you feeling a lot more confident and courageous to move forwards with your ideas, but the people that you usually play with and have fun with, they're coming back into their power. So there is an empowerment here with everything that is local. And I really can't stress empowerment enough. Now, something else that really also needs to be paid attention to is the fact that the sun is moving into a conjunction with Saturn, which is your ruling planet. Now that's going to happen on the 12th. You'll see I've just gone from the starting chart to the midway chart, and you can see the sun and Saturn are almost touching. Now, Saturn's your ruling planet. It's been in this part of your chart for quite a while. So I really do think you've wanted to make changes and to feel a greater sense of belonging to where you are. You've probably had to make some cuts. You've had to use a lot of discernment. Maybe people around you, maybe you've been kind of refining the kind of interaction that you have within your community. So what I'm really seeing is, Saturn is going to be moving out of this area in May, but you've still got a couple of months. Now, when Saturn crosses over and goes into the sign of Aquarius, Aries, which he will do on the 25th of May, it's going to be signaling some changes in the way you're living at home. And so this is what I think this 2 weeks is going to start giving you clues about. Things are going to be coming up because there's a lot of energy, not just here for this week and the next, but very shortly, we're going to be going into the astrological new year on the 20th of March. Once the sun crosses over the spring equinox, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And the sun is going to, obviously, in the whole year, we'll get the sun back here in March 2026. But in this whole year, there's a lot of emphasis around here. Both Saturn and Neptune are going to go into Aries in this year ahead. And then they're both going to go back into the sign of Pisces. So yeah, and then in February, January, of 2026, they're going to move permanently into Aries again for the duration of their time in Aries. So there's a lot of kind of posturing. There's a lot of movement. It's almost like you're deciding to move and deciding to shift. And it feels like there's an important, what you're going through right from now, you're deciding, you're starting to come into the consciousness of it until, say, February, March of 2026, you're coming into a time of great movement where you're likely to make a massive shift in how you're living. Now, is it that you're going to be shifting location, or that the people that you live with might be moving out, or that might be changing? For instance, you might have children that are about to go off to university, or you might be leaving home, for instance. I don't know your situation. But to me, there's a lot of change going on, and that creates a bit of uncertainty. Now, Neptune's going to go first. He's going to move over just literally next month. But this Saturn's your ruler. This is the important thing. As the sun comes into a conjunction with Saturn, in week 2, like really tightens that. That's also right before the full moon total lunar eclipse. And I think that is going to give you a taster of everything that's not here. So let me just step that back again and run that past you. So the new moon, which is setting the scene for this 2-week forecast, is all about where you belong, how you fit in, what is your marketplace, what are your friendships like, are you learning a lot, or are you kind of stuck in the usual narratives? You may well find you get a bit bored here. You can get a bit bored. It can be quite rational in the sort of local area. And as you're coming up to the total lunar eclipse in Virgo on the 14th of March, that is going to be giving you an experience of everything that's not local, everything that's not your usual narrative, everything that's foreign, a different culture, a different religion, a different thought form. Everything that doesn't normally occupy you on a daily basis is given some greater some greater influence. So, for instance, you might very strongly feel that it's time to study or to open up your mind in a new way. Things to do with philosophy, religion, spirituality really come to mind here. Programming, writing, broadcasting are all in this area, as is teaching and learning at a much higher level. If this was school, this would be your infant and junior school or high school, and this is like your university. So to me, it feels like you are coming out of your usual consciousness within this 2-week period, and you're coming into a time of saying, hang on, my life just doesn't feel as magnificent and as full as it could. This full moon is going to bring into your awareness that there is so much more to life than you've currently got. And I think that is going to be playing into the switch of Neptune coming into your 4th house and also Saturn. So I do think that you're on, I don't want to say the precipice, because that implies there are going to be some changes immediately, and I don't want to panic you. Capricorns like to play it cool and take their time. However, I do think some of these thoughts are coming in. Most likely, you've already thought, maybe it's time to move or shift, because my experience isn't giving me enough. It's not as fulfilling. Now, on that note of fulfillment, there's more I need to add in. So far, I've spoken about, the sun and Saturn, and the fact that Mars is helping you to I think get clearer about have the courage to move forwards. So that's helpful. And I've spoken about the new moon and the full moon and those kinds of impacts. There's much more that I just need to slot in. And yeah, to me, there's a much bigger piece. We're about to, during this time, Venus is going retrograde on the 2nd of March, and she's going to be coming into the sign of Pisces. Literally, she's going to be coming up real close to Saturn, your ruler. And then on the 13th of April, she's going to move forwards again back into Aries. So she's crossing off from this neighborhood to home area. And, this area here, the fourth house, is a real area of privacy. This is where we kind of take our outer clothes off, like the clothes you might wear if you go out to town to meet people, and you put your PJs on and a big pair of soft socks. You put your feet up, and you might have your hair in rollers or a face mask or whatever. I don't know what floats your boat, but it's like where you are completely unobserved, this is the place where only people that really are in your inner sanctum get to know you. So there's a lot to do with your inner peace and inner foundations and inner stability. So Venus is here, she's coming back. And Venus, when she comes back, we're reviewing things, reviewing our connections with the people in our life, reviewing our connections with how we manage our finances. Venus is all about the good flow, the good people, the good feelings, the good health, the good wealth. And so all of those sort of value-based things are going to be considered. It's not unusual to get a bit nostalgic at this time and want for something that you had in the past that maybe has eluded you in your present time. Now, something more significant is that Mercury is also going to do the same journey. He's not starting until the 15th. However, Mercury is going to start off his retrograde literally from just the same degree, almost just like 1 degree difference from where Venus started her retrograde. And ironically, is going to come back to the same point where Venus was retrograde and then move forwards. Now, both of them are going retrograde in the entirety of the Venus retro. So if you imagine that the 2nd of March here to the 13th of April, they're like the Venus retrograde brackets. If we're writing this down, Mercury's retrograde fits in between these brackets. So it's all done and dusted between the 2nd of March and the 13th of April. So it's a while, a good month and a half. And so this is marking a time, again, of additional considerations about where you are in life, where's home, what you need to feel safe and secure, and also really which environment do you want to be in? Who do you want to be your neighbors? And do they support you in your evolving life and your spirituality? So it's a much, much deeper piece. So I hope that's helpful in understanding some of the key emphasis, like the key energies in this fortnight ahead. A couple of final things I just want to share. So Mercury Venus conjunction on the 11th, if I just move over here, you can see it a bit more clearly. They're both conjunct in the 4th house. I think it's going to give you a lot of opportunities to talk openly with the people you do share your life with about what needs to happen. I do think you're in a review period, and when Mercury comes in, it's like you can have this really lovely conversation where nothing is wrong and everyone can be heard. It's really brotherly and sisterly. So that's very, very helpful. And then I really do think between the 12th and the 14th, you're going to get a lot of work done. During that time, the moon's in Virgo, it's another earth sign. You're able to get things done without dimming your own vision. So I really hope that's helpful for you, Capricorn, to understand more about your next 2 weeks ahead. Final thing, I've got a couple of gifts for you. All you need to do is check out the links below. I've created, it's a bit of an experiment on my part to see if people like it or not. I've created a special relationship and connection forecast for Capricorns for this period, and also a career and ambition forecast where all I talk about is your love, and your connections, or your career and ambitions. So there's links to those, so you can check those out. And if you like them, it might become part of an offering that I'm going to do very soon. But it's a bit of extra free advice that really zeroes in on the things that matter. And obviously career and ambition is a really strong motif with the Capricorns. So anyway, lots and lots of love to you in this fortnight ahead, and catch you for a full moon total lunar eclipse reading real soon. Lots of love.